What's up, Savages? I have finally recovered from the UGC LAN as well as the US Finals. And at the UGC LAN, I got everyone sick. And I literally mean everyone. All I have to say to that is get a better immune system, pussies. It only affected me for 2 days. Anyways, moving forward. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gandhi's Thoughts, brought to you by My Nutrition. I am Gandhi, and today we're talking about the UGC LAN. Now, before I get into that, I just want to say, yes, I got everyone sick. And yes, Maven's moved in with me. How many times has he drank since he's moved in with me? Only once. I don't know how it's possible, but you know what? Maven's doing his thing. And I moved my bed from the living room into here. I got blankets and shit. I'm starting to really fill out my apartment. You're watching the evolution of me as a person in my apartment. How neat. Anyways, let's talk about this UGC LAN. So, right off the break, the UGC LAN was fucking just hellacious. Getting people to the airport. I mean, we live pretty far away from the airport. It's like an hour. It's like an hour and 15, hour and 30-minute drive. So, like, coordinating that was awful. If you're an event coordinator or you are looking to get into event coordination, I feel bad for you. I think you have to have a serious problem with control in which you just have to dictate everything in order to do that job. It's wild. I don't understand how it's possible, but you know what? You guys do you. I'm going to do me. And I'm gonna attempt to do the stuff and then just never do it again. But holy shit, it is the most high stressful thing in the world. People's flights get delayed. You gotta book the flights. You gotta talk to people. It's not fun at all. But anyways, I want to talk about the LAN. So right off the break, we were supposed to have 5 teams. Curse Las Vegas was supposed to come out. Obviously, everyone knew Killa wasn't gonna come out. He wasn't gonna hang out with Parasite all weekend. And so, we just said, it's okay. And we don't, it's not a big deal. We're just going to make do with what we have. So we're rocking out to 4 teams like the whole weekend. And, it's Curse New York, TK, Justice, and then last but certainly not least, Complexity. So, already, you had 2 people attending the World Champs, and then you had 2 teams who, had league matches, and they're still a very, very good team. And these guys were basically forced to battle all weekend long. But there was a kicker. There's one kicker thrown into the mix, and that's going to be league matches. Now, the MLG league matches, we didn't postpone them or anything. We just did them there. So basically, the teams who were here had like a 4-team host box, and then and then when they were off host, they still had pretty good internet. So. Hey, it is what it is. If I had it my way like Burger King, I would have done no league matches. I would have just made these players play all the time. But you know what? I don't make the rules. I just kind of hang out. So the league matches were really really big pain in the ass. I hated casting them. I feel like the whole point of the LAN was to be on LAN the whole time, not to even look online. I hate online. I think online's disgusting. But hey, you know what? What can you do? But, I mean, it is the league that's going to lead you to PAX, and PAX is supposed to be a really, really big event. Or, well, not a really big event, but PAX is a big deal because of the new league, which we'll talk about later this week. But right now, we're not going to worry about it moving forward. But, so, yeah, I mean, overall, the LAN, I thought, there was a couple things that really, really stood out to me. One, I got to see a lot of the evolution of players, and I thought that was fucking sick. Like, right away, I mean, Burns kind of showed up to the event with... Burns off of Curse New York kind of showed up to the event, and everyone was kind of like, I don't know about this guy. Well, let me tell you, Burns is freaking good. Burns really turned it on there towards the end. He was really, really solid. He was making the right decision-making, minus the fact he was still running trophies on some maps, which we'll get into later. But yeah, I mean, Burns was good. Mochilla's a fucking beast. He is so good at Search and Destroy. He is like one of the best players, period. And of the weekend, he might have been the best Search and Destroy player, period. And that's out of those 4 teams, so that's impressive. Revan had some big games, and then let's just go ahead and flip over to Justice. Justice, I mean, Tipsy's great. Tipsy's a very, very good player. When he's hot, Tipsy's a very elite caliber player. But when he's off, I mean, he's still going to get the job done, but it's not nowhere near how he is when he's hot. I think he just needs to find that little consistency bubble, and normally that comes down to routes, taking good routes and not relying just on gun skill. But Tipsy's a good player. Stainville still has it, slow and steady, moves like a little bit of a turtle, but it is what it is. And then TK, I mean, TK got a lot better. And so basically how it worked was, as we had league matches going on, every team who was off was going to play another team who was off. And, it ended up one day, I think it was day 3, where TK and Complexity just basically sat down in the middle station and just played each other all day long. And Complexity beat them like 14-1 or 12-1 or something like that. It was a lot to a little. And everyone was kind of like, holy shit, Complexity's back, right? But that was only respawns. And this is the story of the UGC LAN is Complexity sucks balls at Search and Destroy. They suck balls. So anyways, and they're battling, and so we go into day 4, which is like basically like the tournament, right? And basically how the tournament worked was it was a best of 7, winner advances, right? So we had Curse New York taking on Complexity, and then NY, and then Justice taking on TK, and then the winners of that met up against each other, right? Well, so it matches up that way, and it ends up being Complexity versus TK, like everyone expects, but Curse New York put up one hell of a fight versus Complexity. I think it ended 4-2, but I mean it was 2-2, and then it just kind of whoop, it was wild. And by the way, Curse New York won the search 6-1 or 6-2 on Warhawk. So anyways, TK meets up with Complexity, and everyone's kind of like, okay, this is the Juggernauts. Let's see how this goes, right? Of course it goes to Game 7. Of course it's tied 3-3. And of course we find ourselves on Search and Destroy. And what's the map? It's Freight. So it comes down to it, and it ends up being like a 6-4 finish. Formal hits some big snipes. In theory, no. It was Goonjar. Goonjar had a ridiculous 2-piece to end the game. He pushes out gate, and then he shoots a guy top white, and then he fucking kills the bomb guy, and then they just, before you know, Complexity was just distraught and had no idea what was going on. So technically, TK won the event, right? Like the mock tournament. They didn't finish out the best of 11. All the players retired, but overall overall Complexity was the #1 record holder with wins to losses, which I think everyone kind of expects anyways. Now, from this LAN, we saw a lot of things kind of emerge. The #1 thing we saw emerge was there's a lot of changes on a lot of maps, and the first one, and I'm just going to talk about this, and then it's going to be done with the video. And by the way, Strictly Business is a bunch of fucking savages. Anyways, so I'm going to talk about this one, and I'm going to call it quits, right? So Sovereign Domination is a map that a lot of people always believe that an AR on it is like the bee's knees, right? It's not the case anymore. So at the US final, Strictly Business changed a lot of things for a lot of teams, and they changed basically the entire game. They decided that, you know what, if we force the issue and we keep putting pressure on people and we run force subs, that AR is basically going to get useless kills. As long as we hold a 2-cap and we just keep pushing up and winning our gun battles or just effectively trading, we are always going to keep climbing our lead, and no team is going to be able to keep up with that unless they run force subs against us. Well, sure enough, this meta has stayed, and it has clicked. Throughout the entire weekend, we saw Complexity like immediately switch to it. When they were playing against TK, they beat TK for the first couple of days by 20 points aside every single time that Goonjar would not switch to a sub. If he held an AR, by the way, some of the stats he would do was like 18-7, 17-10, and then 16-9. Those are fucking good stats for domination, right? But they are useless kills because he can't push up. So what we have found is that by pushing more and more people, just flooding lanes, although you're gonna die, you just keep flooding lanes and just pushing and pushing, you will end up actually winning the game by 20 points aside. And it stuck for the entire duration of the weekend. We saw BL, like if you guys go and watch BL Fire play on the map, dirt slow. Versus TK, I literally put it on BL Fire the entire time for a whole map, and they lost by 26 points. Second map, he started off and he got like a freaking 4-piece or something just wild and bonkers, and TK still won by 20 points on that side too. ARs are becoming a thing of the past here on Sovereign Domination, and possibly for the entire game. So, sure, Search and Destroy, you're still going to see it be used, but really, we have now seen that force subs pushing the issue, less tacticals, and just more and more gunfights you force, the better off you are. That's how it works. That is what we're going to be seeing at the COD Champs. Any team who does not adapt to the 4 subs, especially in Sovereign Domination. Some maps are still different. Octane, you're still going to have your AR, but for the most part, you're going to be seeing a lot of 4 subs, just like Strike Zone, just like everything else. But if teams do not adapt to this, for respawn games only, by the way, then they are going to get blown out of the water at COD Champs by Complexity, Strictly Business, and TK. That's just it. I'm assuming Optic Gaming will be adapting this strategy as well, just because they're playing against Strictly Business. But teams like FaZe who run double nades, two ARs, and they're slowly getting there. It's just not the thing anymore, man. You are going to be seeing a lot of 4 sub play. Now, other than that, if you guys are looking to do an Xbox One LAN, I am doing a video on that tomorrow, and then I'll probably cover US Finals. I don't know. I'm going to do a video on the Xbox One on how to set up like the Xbox Ones for LAN and why they're such a pain in the ass and why I fucking hate them. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I love you, but I don't love you. Take it easy.